What's going on, everyone? In today's episode, I am super excited to bring you guys all along to finally plant out one of our seed plots here. We've got a seed plot behind us that we just freshly tilled up and we laid with compost, got it all incorporated, and this is going to be our seed plot for our Seminole pumpkins. We brought in the Seminole pumpkins, we started from seed, they're ready to go in the ground, and I am just so excited about it. So with that, let's get going. So with me here, I've got the Seminole pumpkin seedlings. Now I've got 2 trays of them, and these are incredible. Now, if you've never heard of a Seminole pumpkin before, wouldn't blame you. It's actually a winter squash, believe it or not, and it originated down in Florida with the Seminole Indians. Now, the Seminole pumpkin is considered an ancient food or an ancient crop because this crop dates back to over 2,000 years. Now, the Seminole Indians have been growing this crop as a winter squash for food store for thousands of years. And what makes this so important is not just that it's an ancient food, but that this is actually part of the slow food arc of taste. Now, the slow food arc of taste is actually a grouping of crops that are considered endangered, basically crops that are being bred out of existence by more popular or more, I guess, desirable crops for mass production. And so this is a really important crop for us to save seeds from. And what also makes this very important is that it's disease resistant. Now, again, this crop originated down in Florida. And if you've ever been down to Florida in the summer, you'll realize it's hot and humid. And here in Michigan, we also have hot, humid weather. And I know lots of you living throughout the United States have hot, humid weather. Sometimes it's in the Gulf, East Coast, whatever. That hot, humid air on pumpkins usually results in powdery mildew. What's special about these is that these are highly resistant to powdery mildew. They've been born and bred especially for hot, humid environments. And so for thousands of years, these have been grown and cultivated and kind of genetically selected to survive in the hot, humid environments of Florida and other other humid environments, not arid, but humid environments like Florida. And so it's culturally significant for that. And then the final reason why this is so important is because you can hardly find seed for this. This is very rare to find seed from. It's also very rare to find seed that is genetically accurate. Over the years, there's been cross-pollination and mistakes that have been made with seed saving, and you get a lot of tainted genetics. This is certified seed. This is legitimate Seminole pumpkin, and it is amazing, because now what we're going to do is we're going to take this seed, or these seedlings, I should say, and throw them into our seed plot, allowing us to grow seed for all of you for the 2026 gardening season. And this is just kind of one of our missions here at MIgardener, is to take something that hasn't maybe been loved enough or hasn't maybe had the attention given to it and raise awareness about it, bring it to the forefront, and allow all of you to try this absolutely amazing winter squash, or pumpkin. If I say winter squash, I say pumpkin, they're interchangeable. So let's get planting. I am really excited. So when it comes to planting out these seedlings here, we're just going to be taking one plug of plants and spacing them out about 5-6 feet apart. Now, if you were starting them from seed, what you'd typically do is you would make a mound. You'd put 2 or 3 seeds per mound. You'd space those mounds out 5-6 feet apart, and then you just grow them the same way. And essentially, you could if all 3 seeds germinated, you could let all 3 seeds grow. It's not uncommon to do that. With us here, we have so much room, so much space. I'm just taking one, putting it in every 5 feet, and that's going to give us a good amount of plants. I don't know if I'm going to fully plant out, because I haven't really mathed out the space, but I do know that this is a 50 by 50 area. And so in theory, we should get roughly, if my math has served me correct, we should get about 100 plants in this area, because obviously it's 50 one way, it's 50 another, so 50, and we're spacing them out about 5 feet apart. We should get roughly about 100 plants, 10 times 10. We'll see if that comes true, but if it does, I will have a few plants left over, which is totally fine. And not every cell has plants in it, so we do have that going for us as well. are making some good progress here. I will tell you what, the plants look amazing. The soil looks absolutely amazing. I'm just super happy with how this is going. Now I know that you're probably gonna ask, okay, Luke, no mulch, like we're not putting down plastic mulch. Typically people that grow pumpkins are gonna put down some type of plastic mulch. We're not gonna do that. The reason why is I think because we're starting from seedlings, we already have an advantage because we already have essentially what is 3 weeks that would normally be a seed sitting in the ground and then growing. And you're going to at some point have weeds germinating. But also because we started with really nice, just kind of weed-free compost, this compost here was hot composted with our friends. They own a compost facility and they sold us the excess. We've talked about this. We got it for $7 a yard. Insane. It's kind of the friends and family discount, if you will. But they had some excess that they were willing to sell us. And so we brought in just truckloads of weed-free compost and threw it on here. We loosely tilled it under, so will there be some weed seeds that get incorporated? Absolutely. But it's not going to be nearly as much as had we just tilled up the ground. So that's helping us. But also, by the time these plants get up and growing, my hope is that they fill out fast. And because we're essentially not having, there's gonna be zero walkways. I mean, there'll be a walkway temporarily, but once they're full, it'll just be a sea of Seminole pumpkins. That is by design. We are high intensity spacing these. Typically, you would wanna space your rows apart 7-8 feet apart. You'd wanna space your plants 5-6 feet apart so that you have some room to kind of walk and navigate. This is not gonna be that case. We want to completely cover the soil to protect the soil from the sun, to protect the soil from evaporation, overheating. We want to kind of suppress weeds as much as possible. So I'm hoping that as this kind of fills out, it's going to be a natural living mulch. And in a way, this will be treated just like any one of our garden beds. We talk about all the time how when you space your plants closer and closer together, if you have fertile enough soil and your plants can be spaced that close together, they're going to help mulch the soil as a living mulch. And that's the objective here. That's what we're trying to do. So one of the things that I know you're gonna ask about is mulch. That's been covered. Another thing that you're going to ask is no ruler. How are you doing this without a ruler? This is just an advantage for us because I chose 5 feet as spacing. Our tiller width is 5 feet. So as long as I go down the center of the row and as long as I stick to 10 plants per row equally spaced, that's going to be 10 by 10. Now we do have a kind of an extra row, so we'll have 10 extra plants, but that was just because I tilled up a little further on both sides. So I got 11 rows. 11 at 10 is we're gonna have 110 plants, 110 Seminole pumpkin plants in here. And that makes it just incredibly easy because if you're ever trying to space something out, yes, bring a tape measure, bring a ruler, because if you're off by inches over the course of 50 feet, it's gonna add up. But yeah, I am very excited about this. I think one of the things that a lot of you will come to realize with this farm is that yes, there's an orchard. Yes, there's honeybees. And yes, we have a greenhouse. We're doing a lot of things here. The sole purpose for this farm, the real reason why we have this farm was for seed plots. The final question we get asked all the time is, why did you need so much land for such a small purpose like this? Why not turn this all into seed plots in that event? The reason why is it's very difficult to grow a ton of different crops. We need to provide spacing so they don't cross-pollinate. We need to make sure we have pure seed. We also need to make sure that we have enough time to give them the attention that they deserve. We have 10 seed plots here, 10. And that is going to be all of the time that we can bear. The rest of the space we needed to utilize so that it just made it easier for us to maintain. It's work initially to have this beautiful orchard, but the whole reason why we have the orchard is because if we didn't, we'd have 40 acres we'd have to do something with. And ultimately, we only need about 4 acres for our seed plots. That means we have 36 acres not being utilized. So that's why we have 3 acres of sweet corn. We're gonna have 2 acres of a pumpkin patch way the heck on the other side of the property. We're going to have our other little pumpkin patch way the heck over there on the other side of the property, where there's no room for cross-pollination between these pumpkins. And because of that, it allows us to do a bunch of different things. It allows us to have our passions and to bring more unique content out to all of you. And so I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you all kind of found it informative and fun as to what we're doing here. And I really do hope that you'll check out some Seminole pumpkins. I hope that you'll go over to MIgardener.com, excited in the fall, and add them to your cart. And I really also hope that you'll stay tuned. We're gonna be posting lots of updates on how they're growing. We're gonna harvest seed from them, show you how we harvest seed, and really just kind of bring you guys along for the journey of how you get a seed packet, because that is the final thing. That is the final thing, is that you guys all ask. I wanna see the journey from how a seed ends up in a packet. And we always show how the packet gets packed, the seeds that we have going into the packets and how they end up on the racks, but we don't have much to show you as of yet. Now that's changing. We've never really had a whole lot to show you of starting from a seed and then finishing with a seed. So this is gonna help us kind of close that loop. So I am really excited about these seed plots. I hope you all are as well. And as always, if you did enjoy, make sure to throw a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll catch you all on the next episode. As always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow bigger. Take care. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, consider clicking this one. You'll probably enjoy it just as much. I want to thank you for your viewership, because without it, this channel would not be as amazing as it is. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free, and we upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. We also have vegetable seeds, fertilizer, or tools. If you need any of those, consider visiting MIgardener.com. Links will be in the description box below. We've got you covered. And as always, we'll see you all in the garden. Take care. Bye.